Hey, it's Hallie, and today I'm investigating a question of our times, okay? A question of our decade thus far. Who is the microtrend final boss? To investigate this, I have built an entire Champions League based on the worst microtrends from 2020 to 2025. The winner of the Champions League will get the one and only 24 karat gold Labubu. Okay, babes, the 24 karat gold Labubu. To organize this Champions League, I've created 4 groups that will go through group stages and defeat each other to become the winner of that group. That will then build into a semi-final and then a final so that we can find out who is the winner of this Champions League. There have been many god-awful fashion and cultural trends since 2020. And I am a cultural anthropologist, okay? I'm a theorist. Yes, there was a global pandemic, but there was also a fashion famine. Let these high stakes matches begin. Let's get into the first group stage. So for match 1, we have the House of Sunny dress versus clay and plastic rings. House of Sunny had girlies dressed like Moss for 3 months. Not Kate Moss, Tree Moss. The internet and girlies in London specifically could not get enough of this dress. No shade to House of Sunny, but unfortunately, when a dress becomes very iconic very quickly, it does just give microtrend. I saw this dress in person when I was out a few weeks ago, and genuinely it was a bit like a jump scare because it's so tied to a different era of my life. Like, I was a completely different person when this dress was a thing. Clay and plastic rings, however, feel like a much more egregious trend because I'm going to be so brave and say that, like, I did judge people for wearing them because I think they're really ugly. To this day, I don't really understand them, and I particularly hate the drop-shipped plastic ones because I know that right now they're on their way down to the bottom of the ocean to be eaten up by a little anglerfish who's minding his business, okay? The House of Sunny dress was at least a little bit interesting and subversive and iconic, whereas I felt like the clay and plastic rings thing was just ugly and egregious. So I'm going to say that the clay and plastic rings are the winner of this match. Okay, now we have cow print versus the Brazil top. So all the people who painted their doors cow print in 2020, I just am calling to check in and see if you're okay. Like, did your parents kill you? Is your door frame just black now? Does it look moldy because you had to paint over it in white with black paint underneath? Have you mentally recovered from whatever was going through your head when you decided to paint your door frame and your entire wall cow print? Cow print was kind of a home decor trend, but it was also clothing. Everything was cow. The Brazil baby tee really was a true moment in 2020's history. I was seeing girls wear the Brazil top who, it's not giving Brazil. If I'm being so real, you're wearing a Brazil top but you're from Guildford. What was the reason? That being said, it's not weird to see them out. I'm just like, oh, that was a moment. I think that the cow print was 10 times worse than the Brazil top as a micro trend. Then we have the ginormous collars versus Jane Birkinifying your bag. None of those sound like real words to me right now, but I was there and I lived it. Do you guys remember like berries and cream? And I thought what was hilarious about that trend was how it was occurring at the same time as the like Scandinavian girl maximalism thing, where everyone had those huge collars and they were wearing a lot of like purple and Prince and Ganni and House of Sunny and stuff. My conspiracy theory is that berries and cream cancelled the big collar aesthetic because everyone was called a little lad who loves berries and cream when they posted an OOTD. This really feels like ancient history. Like, I feel like I have uncovered an ancient text, but that was literally like 3 or 4 years ago. Jane Birkinifying your bag is literally like getting a bag and then accessorizing it with like key rings and pearls and necklaces and stickers. And like, there's nothing inherently wrong with that, but what I hate is the people who were doing like Jane Birkin bundles and it was all drop shipped stuff from AliExpress, and then the person would buy the bundle and then put the bundle on a bag. Jane Birkin, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry they said that about you. To me, there's nothing more annoying than accessorizing being a trend to the point where you have to buy a bundle to accessorize instead of just going to a charity shop or like going on holiday or acquiring things from your mother. Like, what happened to the ancient rules? Jane Birkinifying your bag annoys me way more than the ginormous collar thing, so I'm gonna go with that as the winner. The final match of this group is Money Piece Hair versus Thrasher Tees. And the thing is, this is an interesting match because I feel like this was the same type of person. I just want to ask, as someone who's never dyed their hair, The girls who dyed the 2 front strands of their hair blonde, like, is your hair okay? What was the growing out process like? Are you mentally well now? I feel like the Thrasher T thing, like, people are like, oh, they don't skate, so like they don't know anything about that. Like, yeah, okay, it's a little bit annoying when someone wears something that they don't know anything about, but also, like, does it really matter? And also, it's just a t-shirt. And also, yes, it's a micro trend, but that sort of t-shirt can be reused because you could like wear it to bed or like wear it to the gym. Like, it's literally just a t-shirt. I just wonder if those people still have skating culture in their heart. If they do, obviously props to you, shout out to you, like, love your lifestyle, I guess. But I do think it was a quite annoying era. And so I'm going to let Thrasher Tees win this one. The head-to-heads for this group are Clay and Plastic Rings versus Thrasher Tees. I'm going to pick Clay and Plastic Rings as worse than Thrasher Tees. And then it's Calprint versus Jane Birkenifying Your Bag. This is a tough one, but Jane Birkenifying Your Bag annoys me as a concept way more than the fact that you painted your door frame with black paint, because that's your business, not mine. That means it's Clay and Plastic Rings now versus Jane Birkenifying Your Bag. And still, Jane Birkenifying Your Bag as a concept annoys me more than Clay and Plastic Rings. So Jane Birkenifying Your Bag is the winner of this group stage. Okay, now we're on to group 2. I am ready to be traumatized further. I am taking a deep dive into our recent past and confronting the political, socio-economic climate that allowed some of these trends to thrive. Okay, this match is Neck Flowers versus the Rhode lip gloss case. I'm not a Rhode girl, but I have no issue with Rhode girlies. I do think the lip gloss case was a genius social media stunt and also a kind of iconic product. Neck Flowers, like, low-key very much a micro trend, but also I feel like if you have a flower on a tie, you can do so much more with that, even if you don't wear it on your neck anymore. Like, you can wear it in your hair, you can wear it on a bag. I just really hated when people were wearing neck flowers with blazers, because I was like, are we going to the beach or are we going to a business meeting? I want the Rhode phone case to progress, so I'm gonna go with that as the winner of that match. Then we have bubble skirts versus tabby shoes. Bubble skirts, definitely a trend, definitely will disappear. I think soon people won't want to wear them because they're quite distinctly of this era. I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with them, but knowing how the fashion girlies behave, they're going to landfill. There's going to be a humpback whale in a bubble skirt. And I want you to think about the ramifications of that. The cultural, societal implications of a humpback whale wearing a bubble skirt. I think tabby shoes have proven themselves to be a long-standing part of the early to mid 2020s. I do think they really hit the mainstream in the past few years, but I also have seen so many micro trendy brands creating a split-toed shoe. I think there's girls who are wearing split-toed shoes that don't have hoof in their heart. But also I think I'm just a jealous hater because I actually like tabby shoes and want a pair. I want to see tabby shoes progress to the final, so I'm going to push tabby shoes through. Then we have those double strapped or triple strapped shoes versus phone charms. You coquette girlies are going to get tired of them and move on. There's going to be an octopus on the ocean floor wearing 8 of these shoes. You don't have to move on, but you should have bought a more classic Mary Jane. Now here you are being like, why does my shoe have 3 buckles? And that's something you have to sit with. Then we have phone charms. Again, like, nothing inherently wrong with it. They just break and are wasteful, and they're a bit annoying, and they're a bit AliExpress, and they're a bit ugly. Then we have bows being on absolutely everything versus motorcycle boots. There's nothing inherently wrong with either of these things, but I think there are some very distinct micro-trendy items and styles that have fallen under this wider category of bows and boots. There's that specific motorcycle boot that has the 3 buckles down the side, and I know the girlies are going to be sick of them by next month. And then bows being on everything. I love bows. You can probably tell that I'm a bow girl. There's some items that don't need a bow, and that's okay. And there's some items that are going to get thrown away because they have a bow on them when they just shouldn't have had a bow on them. I want to see bows in the semi-final, so bows wins this round. Okay, so now we have a knockout stage. We have Rhode Gloss versus bows on everything, and tabby shoes versus the coquette shoes. If I had to pick between what is more micro-trendy, between the Rhode lip gloss case and the bows, I'd have to pick the Rhode lip gloss case to progress. If I had to pick between the coquette shoe and the tabby shoe, I would pick the tabby because I want to see how it fares amongst these other big hitters in my other categories. And then if I had to pick between the tabby shoes and the Rhode lip gloss case, I'm gonna pick the tabby shoes again because they are both micro trendy and era defining. What I mean by this is the tabby shoe doesn't necessarily have to pay for its crimes, but the fast fashion and ultra fast fashion iterations of the tabby shoe I want to see tried at The Hague. Okay, now we're on to group 3. The green fairy core corset versus the cowboy boot. I don't even have to get into this because there's a clear winner. That green fairy core corset was the most egregious time on TikTok because I knew those girlies weren't wearing that past maybe the 2-month mark. I know that at the bottom of the ocean, there is a fish with a BBL and this corset on. Yeah, whereas the cowboy boot, like, they hate it when a British girl serves Texas, you know? But, like, the British girl's gonna serve Texas regardless. Those girls are gonna wear a cowboy boot to every single function. Taylor Swift with a cowboy boot. Chapel Roan, cowboy boot. Sabrina Carpenter, she's gonna show up with a cowboy boot. And what I'm saying is I have a profound respect for that. Okay, match 2. People who made blazers club attire versus the teeny tiny Jacquemus bag. Why are you at 21 wearing a blazer to the club? Okay? You're not running an MLM. What happened to serving Fashion Over, okay? What happened to serving bodycon dress? Why are you at the club looking for seed funding? I feel like the Jacquemus bag, yes, it was annoying in the culture, but I feel like most people didn't buy one, so it can't be as annoying as 21-year-olds wearing blazers to the club. Then we have jorts versus those huge scrunchies. No shade to jorts, but some of you are wearing jorts inauthentically and it shows. Like, I know you don't carry the jorts spirit in your heart. Like, I don't wear jorts because I know that that's not me, okay? Those jorts are not making it into 2026, okay? And that breaks my heart. And there are some girls who will serve jort forever, and I'm not talking about you in this video, queen. And then, like, the big floppy scrunchy situation, like, why are you wearing a tea towel on the back of your head? Why are you wearing a dress shirt with buttons on the back of your head? The commitment to serving Amish is something to behold, but I feel like the jorts thing is more egregious, so I'm gonna let jorts win this one. The puffer quilted bag versus the furry bucket hat. Some of you bought a furry bucket hat for like £30 and then wore it to one festival, sweated through it, and then put it on Depop for £20. And some of you have to pay for that crime, you know? I feel like if you're going to spend that much money on a bucket hat, I want to see you in that bucket hat day in, day out. Some of you are not wearing that furry bucket hat with swag in your heart, okay? When I see a girl wearing a furry bucket hat who's swag, that's none of my business, okay? But you're not swag, okay? You were just going to maiden voyage. The quilted bag thing I feel like is very like post-athleisure 2010s. It's very of the era for the mid-2020s. And I feel like it's something that will stand out as like a 2020 item in the future. Whereas the furry bucket hat, it was like Y2K, but with an inauthentic spirit, so that's worse, and that's going to win this match. So in the semi-finals, we have the green fairy core corset versus the furry bucket hat, and blazers in the club versus big jorts. The fairy core corset is worse than the furry bucket hats, and blazers in the club is worse than big jorts. So then we have the green fairy core corset versus blazers in the club, and I think the green fairy core corset deserves to be in the semi-finals of this tournament. You must pay for your fairy core crimes. No shade. Some of you thought you were serving like whimsy goth when you were doing the fairy core thing, but you were actually serving like Tinkerbell who shops at Amazon.com. And I think that that's something we have to confront as a society. So I look forward to seeing the green fairy core corset in the semi-finals of this tournament. We're finally in the 4th group of this tournament. Match 1 is leg warmers versus waistcoats. Maybe controversial opinion, but I think leg warmers are cute. When I see a white leg warmer over a little boot, I'm like, oh, that girl is adorable and she's like the prettiest girl in the world. And that's none of my business. Who am I to criticize this queen? I want to see how the waistcoat fares in this tournament, so I'm going to put waistcoat through to the next round. Then we have the strawberry dress versus Labubus. You may know that I am a voracious reader, but I haven't actually read a lot of books this year. So when I started hearing the words Labubu and Lafufu, I was like, oh, I've completely lost my grasp on the English language. Like, this is a me problem. Like, they're obviously saying things to me that I'm not comprehending because I've lost my reading ability. So I immediately was like, I've got to put my phone down and read 2 books, like, right now. What do you mean you have Labubus? I have this running joke with my friends that if there's a bad vibe or if something's going wrong, it's because somewhere in the room there's a Labubu. I'm not religious, but it's giving very much the devil. Like, it's giving very much entity. It's giving very much haunted object. You're not even serving like upside down cross. You're serving like this thing is going to come alive at night and bite my feet. It's giving Furby. Like, why do you all have Furbies? That is how I feel about Labubus. The strawberry dress was a very interesting era because I feel like the initial designer of the strawberry dress, very demure, very cutesy. I love that we saw that dress on women of all shapes and sizes. I thought it made people look really cute. I knew that that would be a micro trend because it's a very ornate dress and it's very distinct and it was very zeitgeisty at the time, which means that it could only last a couple of months. I think what was particularly awful was all the like horrible fast fashion iterations of this dress that kind of proliferated, and it actually just made me hate the original dress. I'm gonna let the strawberry dress slide because I think Labubus need to be taken to The Hague, which is the final of this tournament. Then we have the Miu Miu oval glasses versus the moto bag trend. Some of you are wearing like full motorcycle gear and you've never been on a bike. And like, that's fine. I just really hope you get the opportunity sometime because you have all the gear. I think they're more micro trendy than the motorcycle aesthetic thing. So I'm going to push them through to the next round. Now we have e-girl makeup versus ballet flats. The e-girl makeup was really something, but it's also none of my business because I just didn't do it. The ballet flats thing is pretty interesting because although this has been going on for some time, I'm still not entirely certain where I stand on it. I don't really own a pair because I don't think they're particularly flattering on me. But also there's a quote that like is always in the back of my mind where I can't remember who said it, but they said that girls wearing ballet flats looked like golf clubs, like it made their legs look like golf clubs. And I was like, I can't look like a golf club. I'm just a girl. I want to take ballet flats through to the semi-finals because I feel like ballet flats have really defined the era, but they're still quite micro trendy. Now we're knocking some things out, okay? So we have the waistcoat versus Miu Miu glasses. I'm going to pick waistcoats to go through to the semi-final. And then I have Labubus versus ballet flats, and I'm going to pick Labubus to go to the semi-final. Now we've cut it down to our tournament semi-final. So it's the e-girl corset versus tabby shoes, and Labubus versus Jane Birkenifying your bag. This is gonna be tough. I think if I had to pick what's worse between the e-girl corset and the tabby shoes, I'd pick the e-girl corset because I think in my spirit I am a tabby girl, but I'm also highly concerned for people's feet. I don't know how knockoff tabbies feel inside, but it really stresses me out as a concept. That being said, I feel like the tabby has proved itself to not be as frivolous a micro trend as the e-girl corset. So tabbies, you're free to go. Then we have the semi-final two. We have Labubus versus Jane Birkenifying your bag. Although I find both things annoying, I feel like Jane Birkenifying your bag as a concept is not as bad as owning a Labubu. You're allowed to have accessories on your bag, and I think it should be encouraged. I think it's nice to have a personal style and identity. I think if you enjoy thrifting, then Jane Birkenifying your bag is fun. Like, I have things on my bag, so like, I'm not gonna call a girl out, you know, except for obviously the AliExpressification of Jane Birkenifying your bag. What a phrase. I'm literally an academic. I'm a cultural theorist. Labubus, I just hate them. I feel so sorry for the girlies who like had Labubus like a year ago and were really into Labubus and then have just seen the like destruction of their society. I literally just hate Labubus. Like, there's nothing else to it. Like, is this tournament rigged? Yes. Is this my channel? Yes. Is this my dictatorship? Yes. So like, Jane Birkin, you're free to go. I'm so sorry they did that to you, but like, it's just not as bad as the Labubu. That means the final is the e-girl corset versus Labubus. I think we have to take into account multiple factors, okay? The culture, TM, sustainability, TM, cost, and how much I hate it. I'm going to be so brave and say that I think I hate Labubus more than I hate the e-girl corset. And I think Labubus deserve to win the Microtrends Champions League. And I'm sorry if this is the last video I make. If it is the last video I make, it's because I've been eaten alive by Labubus, or agents from Big Labubu have been sent to destroy me. They do deserve to win this because the proliferation of the Labubu and the Lafufu is a crime against humanity. You are inviting evil into your home, okay? When I look at that and people tell me that's cute, I'm like, are you okay? Are you well? Is it the microplastics again? Is it the fibers? Like, what's going on for you? I really hope you recover soon. Whereas the e-girl corset, I do feel like that was a small subset of society. And yes, it was proliferated a lot on TikTok. I don't think I ever saw more than one or two in real life. So the official winner of the Microtrends Champions League is the Labubu. Is this recency bias? Absolutely. Is this my channel? Also, absolutely. They hate when a girl tells the truth. Thank you so much for watching this video. Yes, I am aware that I'm deranged. I've been told that by many people who love me. I do think it is my societal obligation to bring that derangement to YouTube. Thank you so much for watching. And if you have a Labubu, I forgive you.